Right. Okay. Now, I was supposed to introduce myself. Let me do that now, actually. So I'm Vipina Muhammad Ali. This is me. And so let me also tell you, I was also there in Dubai. I was also there in Abu Dhabi. I was also there in Qatar. I was also there in Kuwait. So I can, with all honesty, and I myself, I am an ACCA. I've completed my ACCA. Me too have completed my CMA US. And I'm a fellow in insurance. This is what I am. Nearly 10 years of experience. Right now, working as an assistant manager in EY in India. That's me. So, EY is your audit firm. That's nice. Rajeshwar is from where? Which part of, where are you from? Qatar. Okay. Hey, EY Qatar. Okay. I think I had friends over there. Right. So, right. Now about this subject altogether. So I will tell you something about, you asked about scope. One thing I can tell you, if you are in the Middle Eastern market, you are looking at excellent scope for something like diploma in IFRS. And I'm sure you all know that CMA is also, like you said, very, very in demand over there, right? The ones from Middle East, you agree, no? You say you're a chartered CMA and then people just take you and run away with you. Yeah. So diploma in IFRS adds on to it because most times the Middle Eastern market follows IFRS and not US GAAP. So it's actually a wonderful decision that you're doing by taking up diploma in IFRS, and you're proving, along with the fact that you all have your work experience and then you have a certification, again from a very credible authority that tells you are actually qualified enough to apply IFRS, gives those people the kind of confidence they need. That is great. So scope wise, you do not have to be worried. This is totally worth it. Now, regarding exams, okay, so it's happening every 6 months for the June and the December sessions, right? Now, this is IFRS, and IFRS keeps changing every now and then. It keeps changing. But for your information, you should know that up to June 2020, what is being examined is only the changes brought about till August 2018. Okay. And every time these people, they change the syllabus once a year. So the syllabus change stays for a whole year. So the one that started from July 2019 and which will stay till June 2020 is the reflection of all IFRS as on August 2018. Why I'm telling this to you is, in case at some point, see, now you all have your textbooks and everything. It's best to stick to the textbook given to you, because if you start checking up your IFRS on Google through your IFRS box, IAS Plus websites, they will give you the latest updated version, which may not be what is being examined, because there is a small, that null is covered. Don't worry about that. No. That is all there. IFRS 16 is there. This IFRS 15 is there. IFRS 9 is there. All that is there. I'm just saying there might be these small, tiny, nitty-gritty changes. And IFRS is something that keeps changing. You know that. But just when it comes to clearing this exam, I strongly suggest you stick to the textbook and the revision kit. You want to understand the IFRS further, you can do some generic reading, but as your ultimate source of information as far as this exam is concerned, I want you all to stick to the textbook given to you. Now, about the exam pattern, 100 marks, worth 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now, before, what ACCA used to do was they used to give 100 marks, 3 hours, plus an additional 15 minutes reading time. Okay, this is what they used to do. So in that first 15 minutes, they'll not let you write. They'll only let you read. And after 15 minutes only, they'll tell you, okay, now you can write. Recently, they removed that clause. Now, literally, you have 100 marks and you have 3 hours, 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, you can do whatever you want at those 3 hours, 15 minutes. It's not specifically for reading time alone. Is that clear? Guys, I hope you can hear me. Anytime I ask if I'm looking for a positive uh, confirmation from you guys, just make sure that you just respond. Yeah, mock test and all will be there. Don't worry about that. To write this exam, surely there should be. 100% sure there will be. ACCS centers all across. So, this 100 marks is actually just 425 markers. There's 4 questions, 25 mark each. Now, this 25 marks will never be, each of these questions will never be a pure problem-based question ever. It'll never be the case. Because they want you to know how to interpret more than how to calculate. So more importance is given on interpretation. Which means you have to calculate the profit of a company. And based on that profit, you had to talk about whether to proceed with this, with sustaining this company, keep investing in this company, or divest. You had a decision to make. Okay. If this was the question, and the first part you calculated was the profit, found out you didn't get a profit, you got a loss of 900,000. Now, as a result, because you got this loss of 900,000, your decision that followed as the part 2 of the question was telling, since this is a loss-making company, don't bother investing further. Might as well get other opportunities out there and invest in them. This is what you would have said. Now, as far as evaluation is concerned, remember, looks like you'll get 0, but no, that's not how it works. Yes, you made a silly mistake in calculating profit. Say that profit calculation had some 4 odd steps. First, you have to calculate some figure, then you have to calculate some other figure, third figure. That fourth figure is finally how you got profit. Let's say at the third stage, let's say somewhere at the third stage is where you made a mistake. That is why your profit became a loss. ACCA will only deduct marks for that area that you made a mistake. Take that same mistake figure, they'll calculate the rest of it and see whether your answer stands like what it should have been. If your answer stands okay with considering that small one mistake you made, you'll only lose a little bit of marks. The rest of the marks you'll get, as far as the calculation is concerned. Now, as far as the decision that you made, remember the decision itself went wrong because instead of profit, you got a loss. Correct? That means your decision itself is wrong, no? In your opinion, what? Get mark or lose mark? Lose, na? No mark? Lose. I have good news for you. You'll get marks. Because as per the loss that you calculated, the interpretation you made on your figure is spot on. So you'll get marks. You understand what I'm saying? Interpretation is that important. You interpret based on the figures you got. So, if you got a figure of minus 900 and based on that figure, if you're telling, no, this is not worth investing, you're still getting your marks. The only mark you'd lose is that small silly error you made at step 3. The one that I highlighted in red. Not at all, not at all. It is not at all difficult. See, even CMA, I'll tell you, see, there's a difference between CMA and this UK-based international IFR. Now, with CMA, if you look, there's a saying, they say what? Mile wide, inch deep. CMA, CPA, they cover a lot. Portions are a lot, but nothing goes in depth, not too deep. It's a little bit on the lesser deep, but a lot of portions covered. ACCA is the opposite. Each subject you look at it, so if you're looking at diploma in IFRS, actually there's very little coverage of concepts. But questions can be just about anything with that. All depends on how you interpret it. Again, if you start now, you have a revision kit with you. With the revision kit, what happens is revision kit will have, say, a question. Okay, question 1. You read the question. You read the entire question. You formulated an answer in your mind. Okay. Now you went and saw the answer written behind, and you found those people have written completely something else. Nothing like what you thought in your mind is what is written behind. Should you get marks? Let me see, like for example, I'm thinking in my mind, or I'm asking you all a question, okay? Like a very generic question I'm asking you. Why are there so many mosquitoes in the city? A question that I asked. I asked the question, why are there so many mosquitoes in the city? What would you say? Pollution. Okay. Shafiq says pollution. Waste management problem. Okay. Water logging. Okay. Even if it's a repeat, just put in so that I know that you're all listening. Lack of governance. Okay. Lack of management of waste. Okay, so that is somewhere like here. Lack of management of waste. You know what came in my mind? It's just the perfect environment for a mosquito to thrive. People's laziness. You all said pollution, waste management, waterlogging, lack of governance. I'm saying it's just a perfect, I mean, this is what a mosquito is looking for. It's like why do we move to the metros? For a perfect environment, for a thing about, standard of living and access to stuff, access to movies, access to good roads, access to, I don't know, all that. Like that, a mosquito comes and lives where they have access to everything. No. Now, technically, you are also not wrong. I am also not wrong. We're all correct in our own ways. Now, the question that I asked was, why are there so many mosquitoes in the city? And now let me tell you, nobody asked me. Now, if I told you if this is an exam question, the first thing you would have asked is how many marks is the question worth, right? I'm telling you it's worth 1 mark. This question is a GK question, it's worth 1 mark. You do realize only one of these points you have to write? Any 1 point? Which means even if you're written pollution or waste management or waterlogging or lack of governance or this perfect environment, whichever we select, any one, as long as one proper point is that we'll all get our 1 mark, no? Agreed? Yes. Which means the same question, if it came in the revision kit, they might write only any 1 point for your reference as the mod revision answer, no? The kit answer. They will not write all the 4 points and tell either you can write this or this or this or this. No. They'll give you 1 mark, 1 point. But along with that, they might say any other valid points can also earn marks. Now, see what I asked you earlier. Now, what do you think? Should you get marks or not? Yes. The point being, you will get your marks as long as you are, this is what is important. Logically, you have to be correct. Meaning, that same question, why are there so many mosquitoes in the city, I asked. And I'm telling you, my city has clean waters everywhere. There is no water logging anywhere. Still, why are there mosquitoes in the city? If I ask like that, no? And if you tell the answer is water logging, is that a logical answer? Exactly. Just make sure your answer does not contradict the case scenario. As long as this stands okay, whatever you write on a logical front, you're getting marks. Is that clear? Another thing I want to tell you about the marking of this exam, because in Indian exams, we might receive even quarter marks, half marks and all given. Na? Here, the bare minimum is 1 mark. There is no half marking at all. It's 1 mark. Okay. So if you're looking at a 10 mark question, see when I say 25 marker, 4 questions, that doesn't necessarily mean one question is worth 25 marks. Okay, that question number 1 may have 2 sub questions in which one sub question is 12 marks, one sub question is 13 marks. That's how it is. Like that, 4 main questions. Okay, 1, 2, like that, 3, 4. 4 main questions in which you can have, say, 10 mark, 15 mark, or you might have a 5 mark, 5 mark, 10 mark. Like that, sub questions will be there. That is what. So in this case, remember one thing. There is no over focus on problems. Problems can earn you decent number of marks, but it is a clear equal split between problems and theory. Which means, because sometimes we have all gone through it, okay? When we go to study a subject and we realize, hey, this subject will pass just by doing the problems. Let's study only the problems. That doesn't work here. You have to give equal importance to problems and its interpretation. Okay? You cannot ignore one. If you ignore one and focus on the other, you're not going to get your marks. So this is how the marking scheme is. This is how the sub questions are, and this is how the marks you can how you get the marks. Each point. So if it's a 10 mark question, maximum you're looking at 10 points. That's it. Not one more, not one less. Looking at 15 marks, you're looking at 15 valid points. Got it. This is how it works. So what happens is you're planning on how much you want to write, because it's a written exam, and most times what happens is even CMA is an online based exam, right? People don't have the thing to write exams anymore, and now that you're faced with a written exam, there's a good chance that you might mess up your time management. So just keep in mind one thing. We're having 4 major questions and you've got 3 hours. Try to space out your timing in such a way that we are looking at what? Roughly 40 minutes per question, per main question. If you stick to 40 minutes each question, each main question, you'll finish it all in a total of 160 minutes. and you'll still have around 20 minutes for some review. Yeah. So you just make sure now passing this exam is a technique. It's literally not hard at all. Just you have to make sure of certain things, that your writing skills are improved, meaning there are ways to write. Ways to write: when a question is asked, you need to understand the question and then understand what they expect as the answer, which comes in practice. Accordingly, you should write. Secondly is time management skills, because it's 100 marks and it's a lot of writing. If you don't plan out your time, you might not finish the paper, and that is a risk. If you're running out of time, think, okay, you've got, like, say you finish 75 marks and you've got the last 25 marker pending, and so you need to plan out your time well. So what happens, I'm just giving an example of what happens to such papers, okay? So most times many people might say finish 75 marks and that last 25 marks is there, and say you're running out of time and you have 15 minutes to write. You know what you should do? The 25 marker might be one 12 marker and one 13 marker. When you read the 12 marker itself, suddenly some 2 to 3 points will come in your mind. Immediately just write that. Now don't give it more time to think. Go to the next one. Leave some page. Go to the next one. Okay, 13 marker. What is the question? Some 2 to 3 points will easily come to you for sure. Immediately write it. Instead of pondering over the 12 marker for a longer time, where you might need that tension will get you all worried, and then you'll not get through the entire question anyways. This is known as easy marks first. Don't dwell on something if you're stuck. Just leave it, leave some space, and go to the next one. The first few points will come very easily to you, and that is worth a lot of points, yeah. So attend, write for maximum points. Instead of trying to complete, your aim is not to, like, have perfect answer. Your aim is to write the least while earning the most. This is the worst case scenario I'm telling, okay, in case you're running out of time. I'm not really telling that this is what you should do all the time, because if you're planning your time, everything should be fine. Okay. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you is the exam pattern. Okay, I'm coming back to the exam pattern. Generally, now one more thing I'll tell you. In case somewhere you are stuck on a question and you're not sure how to answer it, okay, at least the bare minimum you should do is write whatever you know about that IFRs that is being asked. At least that'll get you points. But that is not the way to do it. But in case you're stuck and you're a little confused, just make sure you write whatever major points about that IFRS or IAS being asked. That will earn you marks. Now, those 4 questions are again in a certain pattern. Okay. Question number 1 is generally asking you to prepare some financial statement, which is consolidated. While doing that, you might have to address some issues before consolidating, like, some adjustment entries. No, the adjustment entries, you might have to do that before consolidation. This is a very typical type of question, which is the first question. The second question is generally around making you should tell what is an appropriate treatment to the situation asked, along with what kind of disclosures should be given. Along with that, you might be asked to comment on management's current accounting treatment to that problem, and you should be in a position to recommend a better way to treat it. So basically, they'll be telling you something like this, that there is a company, this is the management, this is what the management is doing for a certain, as a certain policy of certain accounting, something. Comment on what you think it is and suggest how you would have done it. So along with that suggestion, ensure that you have to have your disclosures also set. Understood the pattern here? The second question? Okay. Question 3 is generally exclusively asking you to explain any one standard. Meaning explain means it won't be just explain, it will be explain plus apply it in the scenario given. But here, see that thing I told you, if nothing works, you'll have to write about the standard. See, something like this. Even in here, see, supposing what is an appropriate treatment in question 2. Say you know which is the IFRS being asked here. If you are not really sure how you want to comment on it, you can also at least talk as much as about the standard you know. At least that you'll get marks. Okay, but third one is exclusively asking you to explain the standard and apply it to the scenario. And question 4 is generally about a superior who's asking you certain queries. Now these queries might be certain number of them and they are not connected queries, okay? They are unconnected queries. It's like 2-3 different queries for which you will have to reply, and that will be your answer. Answer is you replying to those queries. This one is also more of theory, interpretation. This will hardly be numerical. The other three could have a numerical plus theory part to it, but the fourth one is almost always theory. So you are getting an idea about the exam pattern now. You're finding a little bit more comfortable. Now, one more thing I'll tell you, this is really not 50% and all you can easily get, especially because you're all working in this field. A lot of it will come naturally to you. Only thing you have to take care of is time management and writing it, smart writing. Don't write too much for no reason. Understand the question and then write exactly only to that question. That is very important, okay? It's like saying, for example, if let's say, I'm conducting a class and one of you come in late, okay? And I asked you, my question is this, why were you late? You might start off telling, the traffic here, it's this time of the day, it's just so bad. However, you try to reach on time, no, it'll never happen. It's always late. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm thinking I should come by bus. You go on like that. Have you answered my question? Did you answer me to the question, why were you late? No. You're thinking that, no, why should I answer that specifically? I am telling you every hint. You're basically blaming the traffic. Your answer went like this, the traffic. It's so bad this time of the day. I don't know. I think I should stop. Driving. Maybe I'll think maybe I'll sell my car. Then it'll go in a very, maybe I'll sell my car. Oh, talking about cars, there is a better car in the market now, better fuel efficiency. Maybe I should consider that. It just goes tangent. This is what happens to our question answering most times. You still haven't answered my question, why were you late? Answer should be as simple as saying, I was late as I was stuck in traffic. Simple. Then you can go on explaining about the traffic and how it is so bad. Exactly. So this is what you need to ensure when you write. As you're all working crowd, I'm 100% sure for you all to get concepts through is going to be a cakewalk, literally a cakewalk. The only thing you need is some sort of orientation, some sort of doubt clarification at many points of time, and probably a study plan, how to go forward. How do you want to study? How much time to spend? How many questions to do? Which all questions to do? That's all. That is what you need. But more importantly, most of us, we're also stuck to the keyboards these days. It's so hard to write and write effectively. You know, to get 1 mark, all you had to do was write this. But just because you wrote this much doesn't make it, just because you wrote this much doesn't give you more marks. In fact, you didn't even write what was required. Do you think we can cover all standards with examples in 2 months' time? So now, if you look at the number of standards, standards are not that many. They are not that many. And with the speed, because I saw the first question I asked was, how many of you are all working? You're all working. I'm going to be more positive than not to say that yes, we can actually cover it. If you are all students, I might have been very skeptical. But since you're all working and you're quite committed, I can see that you're all very excited and committed to it. I think it's going to be quite smooth, provided you also do your bit of working out questions. I will obviously cover the concept. We might do certain examples here and there, but more importantly, you have to do your practice. So, provided you factor in that time, it is really going to become literally, it's not as bad as CMA. CMA is 75% and all, that can get tricky, but this one is not at all tricky. Trust me on this. It's just, you just need to know a little bit about how it works, what it is, and all that. Yeah. Any other queries that you might have? Exactly. Tricky is writing on paper, which means, see, even when you are looking at writing a mock exam, no? You were asking about mock exams. Mock exam is actually very helpful. Huh? Mock exam is required actually, if you ask me. And you have to write on paper. And you have to write in 3 hours. Because you need to test yourself. Exactly. You need to test yourself and see to what extent you're able to complete 100 marks. So just make sure that you don't miss the mock exam and make sure that you do it in all sincerity. That is 3 hours means 3 hours, no 2 minutes extra, no 3 minutes extra. You scan and you send it to me and then I'll get it evaluated. That's not a problem. And you have time till June anyways. You can always practice and we can do, mock exams spread across a couple of months. That's also fine. That and all is okay. Don't worry about that. Your syllabus is majorly around understanding the conceptual framework. I told you what is conceptual framework now. It is a principle-based concept. There is a conceptual framework. All the IFRS are based out of that. You need to understand this so that you understand how IFRS are made. Then you need to understand the IFRSs. You need to know the disclosure requirements of each. All right. And you need to do preparation of group financial statements in which cash flow statement for groups will not be tested. But your group financial statement preparation can include subsidiaries, associates, and joint arrangements. This is majorly what is the end objective of learning DipIFRS. Now, what I'm going to do next This is very interesting analysis, which is also there in your textbook. But see, like I told you, passing this exam is a little bit of strategy. And that strategy involves trying to understand the kind of questions that can be expected. From June 2015 to December 2018, this is what it looks like. I'm looking at subject, the IFRSs versus the hit ratio. June 2015 to December 2018 means 15, 16, out of 8 exam sittings, see the areas and how many times it has been asked. Okay, IFRS 15 revenue 4 times. But let me start by the most hit ones. Which is IFRS 9. Financial instruments. 8 every single time it has been asked. For the past 8 sittings. Okay. Group consolidation. 7 times. Your contingent liabilities. 7 times. Leases, that is IFRS 16, 6 times. Share-based payments, 6 times. Consolidated statement of financial position, 5 times. Reporting financial performance, 5 times. Statement of profit and loss consolidation, 4 times. Related party transactions, 4 times. Non-current asset, IS 16, tangible assets, 4 times. Revenue, IFRS 15, 4 times. The rest are below that, maybe 3 times, 2 times, 1 time, 0 time. But 0 is also there. SME is never asked. Associate is never asked so far. Never asked is SME, associates, almost so far in the last 8 sittings, 0 times. So what I'm trying to tell you is your majority of your understanding for this exam, obviously entire understanding is going to be there, but for an exam perspective, this is where your core focus should be. Is that clear? You have the other things also. What I'll do is I will send it's there in your textbook also, okay, this thing, but anyways I'll send a picture of it so that you all can see what kind of questions have been asked in the last 8 sittings. I've sent it in the group. You guys can look through it later. So this is what I wanted to discuss in terms of syllabus, exam pattern, mode of study, method of studies, method of exam writing, where to focus, about the mocks, marking, pass mark, right? Other than this, is there anything else that you want to talk about or you want clarified today? So I hope you got a good overview about the syllabus, the subject overall, the exam pattern, the marking, and how to go about it, a bit of it. So, all right, then we'll continue this tomorrow, same time.